Hi there, my name is Claire Skuble. I'm with Mercedes-Benz USA AMG Product Management, and I'm here to talk to you about the CLE 53 Convertible. Come on over, let's take a look. So this is the new front fascia of our AMG CLE 53. It looks spectacular. The first thing that gets you is the color. So it's manufacturer Patagonia Red Metallic, which is one of 5 exclusive manufacturer colors we have on the CLE. One that is exclusive to AMG is manufacturer Starling Blue Magno, which is only available on the 53. But the Patagonia Red Metallic looks excellent. You can really see the power domes on the front hood, which really give you that characterized muscular aggression. We have a functional air outlet on the center. And then bringing it down, new for AMG is we now have the Falterbach crest on the hood. So on Mercedes models, you'll see a star. On the AMGs, you'll see our crest, which is a great nod to racing heritage. Coming down to the center, we have a very large AMG specific grille and the nice badging on the right-hand side. This particular package has the night package and also this studio package as well. So there's a lot of blackened accents on the front fascia. So that A-wing is a nice high gloss black, and then badging on the front fender wing, which is from the AMG GT. So a nice little nod to our great lineup. The wheels themselves come in a 19-inch standard wheel. This wheel in particular is an upgraded 20-inch wheel forged Y-spoke, which looks excellent. We have the standard performance brake calipers behind it with the 4-piston. Coming over to the side here, you can really see how wide the body is. So it's 2.3 inches wider in the front, and then in the rear it's actually 3 inches wider in the rear as well. The back tires have a width of about 11 inches, so a lot of tread on there, and the front tires have about a width of 10 inches. So you can really see the lines and smoothness, and it really accentuates the rear of the vehicle. Again, a lot of nice blackened accents. The Turbo 4MATIC Plus badge on the side. So this is AMG 4MATIC Plus, variable all-wheel drive. So it's predominantly a rear-wheel drive car being on the MRA2 platform, like the C-Class and the GLC, but with this being a culmination of the C and the E-Class, we want you to have performance and luxury. So with the 4MATIC Plus, variable all-wheel drive, the vehicle is predominantly rear-wheel drive, but when it senses it needs power at the front, it can send that power and distribution to 50-50 to the front and be all-wheel drive when needed. In certain modes of drive modes, specifically with the AMG Dynamics Plus package, you get drift mode, and that actually puts the vehicle into full rear-wheel drive. So with this being a convertible, we did not stop on enhancing the body. Without the hard top, we didn't suffer any performance. We wanted to enhance rigidity, so we actually added 2 cross struts in the front, so one right here behind the grille, and then one at the base of the engine. And then in the back as well, we added 2 long struts at the bottom. So you really feel solid and stable in the cab. So let's take a look underneath the hood. We have the AMG enhanced 3-liter inline-6 turbo engine with a new electric auxiliary compressor and hybrid assist. So this is an M256 engine, as we call it with Mercedes. We've seen the M256 in other models, the GLE and E, but this is much different. We've enhanced it. So it has a new horsepower of 443 horsepower, and then 413 pound-feet of torque, a very impressive 0 to 60 time for a Cabriolet of 4.4 seconds, an even more improved 0 to 60 time of a Cabriolet to 4.2 if you select the AMG Dynamics package that includes race start. But it looks amazing. And when we say enhanced, this is not hand-built like our 63 engines. This is simply AMG designed. So with rigidity in mind, as mentioned previously, you can see this nice dome strut right here that really keeps the body and the engine as one. My favorite thing about the convertible is putting the top down. And this is our summer winter feature, which is standard on all our cars. So if you're coming up to a vehicle and you know it's a 90-degree day and you want to roll the windows down and get some of that air out that's hot, you can just hold the unlock button. And with a cab, it's even better because I don't have to sit and wait for my top to be down when I'm in the car. It's ready to go. So inside the new CLE 53 convertible, we have some really great enhancements. Starting off with heated seats, which is standard for the CLE. This particular model actually has heated and cooled, so it's optional. And then our very essential item in a Cabriolet, not in Miami though we would need this, but the air scarf with neck level heating. So for the CLE 53, this is standard on all our models. You may have seen this feature in the SL, but it's great for when you're driving on those cold days, and it makes it really an all-season vehicle. So you can have the windows up, heated seats on, and the air scarf with neck level heating on, and it can feel like a completely different climate and very comfortable. Coming over to the center here, we have our standard AMG Performance steering wheel. So it has a nice nap of leather. You have an opportunity to get an upgraded microfiber option, which I really enjoy. Just makes it a little bit more grippy. You have capacitive touch controls on the side. So the left-hand side controls the center screen. The right-hand side controls the portrait screen. My favorite item of the CLE interior is the drive modes. These AMG drive unit buttons are standard on all our vehicles. It's one of my favorite options because it makes a customer or driver feel like a Formula One driver. You never want to take your hands off the wheel, and we want you to enjoy the performance aspect of our driving. So it allows you to change the drive modes of the car. So from slippery, individual, to comfort, sport, and my favorite, Sport Plus, from the touch of a hand. You can also control the dampening, the exhaust, the drive, so from automatic to manual, and then also customize your ESP and suspension. So if you want a certain item on top, you can reorganize it and make it to what you really like. For me, I love having the AMG Real Performance exhaust on and the Eco Start Stop off, and then I like to start in Sport. But that's just my personal favorite. Coming up to the center display, a lot of customization here. We have a 12.3-inch digital dash. And what you can do is change your displays here too. So classic, navigation, or even Super Sport, which is exclusive to AMGs. So you can see your G-forces and how fast. Also what customizations you have for your drive modes, and then engine temperatures, which is always important. But if I'm on a long road trip and I have navigation up, I want it right in front of me. It takes that whole screen, and it's awesome. You have a great view. Coming over to the center right here, we have our 11.9-inch portrait display with a convertible. It's very important, you know, you get a lot of sunlight and glare. So we actually have a power tilt function. So you can go up to 40 degrees to really get a nice view for the driver and passenger and make sure that glare doesn't bother you. And it's just one touch, which is really nice. You don't have to hold it. Aside from the portrait display change, a really good display on our AMGs that's exclusive is we're gonna go home, and we're gonna go to performance, and we're gonna go to engine. So this is kind of like the heartbeat of the vehicle, where you can see the pound-feet of torque and the horsepower, and then of course our M256 and our CLE in the center. So I'm gonna rev it here. It's kind of like a heartbeat. So when you're driving, it will give you real-time torque and horsepower, which is great. And then if you wanna maybe time your lap with an IWC watch, you have that opportunity as well. And you don't have to use the buttons, you can actually use what would be a watch to reset and change. The three most important buttons in a convertible, we have top up, top down, and then air cap, which is our electric wind diffuser. So with the convertible, when you have long hair like me, or you're enjoying your music or having a discussion, you wanna make sure what you're doing isn't, intrusive with the climate. So this air cap actually activates two diffusers, one on the front and then one on the rear in the headrest. So I'm gonna turn that on right now. And it's automatic. And what this does is it actually uses aerodynamics and makes sure the air goes around the cabin and not inside it. So it really makes taking a phone call, listening to music, and riding comfortably much easier, even at high speeds. And one touch to put it down, there. Also, to help with the elements, with it being convertible, we actually have treated all of our upholsteries with a heat-resistant coating that keeps them about 23 degrees cooler Fahrenheit than the current temperature. So if we were to leave our car and go in a restaurant, cafe, come back, the seats would still be cool and they would not be taking on that sun, which is really important. Some other really great enhancements we've made on the AMG CLE 53 that are specific to the AMG is actually rear axle steering is standard on this car. So you actually have 2.3 degree rear axle steering. So when you're actually driving below speeds of 60 miles per hour, the rear wheels will turn in the opposite direction, which is really good for, cornering, parking, lower speeds, and maneuverability. And then when you're going above 60 miles per hour, they turn parallel to your front wheels, which is great for if you're on a track and taking a tight corner, because you want to maintain control and also agility in the vehicle. What helps as well is our AMG 4MATIC Plus with fully variable all-wheel drive. So it's different than our normal 4MATIC Plus because when the vehicle senses it needs more power in the front, it can send that power to the front. So it can go 50-50. And then also with this being a CLE, it is predominantly rear-wheel drive. So it's on the MRA2 platform, which focuses on Mercedes-Benz rear-wheel drive architecture. So in certain drive modes, you are predominantly in just rear-wheel drive, like when you have the AMG Dynamics package and you have drift mode, it's full rear-wheel drive. But again, this rear axle steering is so great for parking, just for turning and driving, even at low speeds. It really makes a difference. So now that you've seen everything in our CLE convertible, it's time to drive. Yeah, so with us walking through the performance enhancements, it's time to test some of them. So we're gonna take a nice little drive here on the perfect Miami streets with the top down. My favorite thing about this vehicle is the sound. So this actually has AMG Real Performance sound, which is an option. So you can really hear that enhanced exhaust. And when those exhaust flaps are open, it's really pronounced with the inline six. But also, it's emotional and dynamic. Emotional because it's aggressive. A lot of the design elements we just covered are seen from other models, the C and the E. And then it's dynamic because it's also matured and refined, because there's a lot of comfort elements we've taken from other vehicles, particularly the E-Class. One thing we currently have on now that makes this cabin much more quieter and easier to hear your passenger and driver is actually the air cap with the automatic wind diffusers. So when you press this button right here, we can close it. And so the wind diffuser in the back and the wind diffuser in the front closes, and then I can press it and they both open. And what they really do is help with aerodynamics, so they make sure the wind goes around the car and not inside the cabin. So you can actually hear the person you're talking to, take a phone call, or even enjoy the music. Music is important in this vehicle because it's actually standard with Burmester 3D surround sound system. So there's 17 speakers throughout the car. So it's perfect for listening to a great song. Well, it's nice to drive on, the everyday streets of Miami, and we know how comfortable this car can be. I'd much rather be on a track, so I think that's where my next stop's gonna be. So see you there.